My name's Joseph. Wait, crap, damn it. All right, let's do this again.
All right. Welcome back to Outdoor Elements. I'm Stephen Camardella with Element Society. I own a 2007 Honda Element EX, and I'm here with Miguel and Joseph. And this is just a show to talk about all things Element and all things outdoor lifestyle. If you guys have any ideas on topics you want to see us talk about, or if you have any ideas on the name for this show, because we are still workshopping the name, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll take it under advisement. So, Miguel?
Hello, guys. Nice to see you again.
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm Miguel from Element Lifestyle, and I own a 2004 Honda Element named Tomato. And my Instagram is Element Lifestyle.
My name's Joseph Ramirez, and my Instagram is Element44 Workshop. And yeah, I have the 2004 jalapeno green. I think that's the correct color. Jalapeno green Element. It's a little spicy once in a while. So
The big lifted one.
yeah, that one.
So last year we all went to the Pacific Northwest Meetup.
Yes.
We had a little bit of different schedule, so we traveled alone, but you guys traveled together. The Pacific Northwest Meetup was, I think, one of the largest element meets that has ever happened. It was how many elements?
103 elements, if I'm not mistaken.
103 elements. Yeah. So Elements on the Dragon, I think, got 140 this time. So numbers are growing, which is good.
Which is really good. It's cool. Yeah,
it's very cool to see. So we're excited to go back to this meetup. Last time we did a little tour of like the Pacific Northwest afterwards. Our schedules were a little different, but I think, where'd you guys go?
We went up towards Port Angeles, and then we just traveled along the entire coast side of Washington.
Okay.
And also Oregon.
We went to Olympic National Park.
National Park.
Because you guys went with us to Rainier, right?
Right.
But not to Olympic yet.
Yeah. We hit Olympic, I think, a couple days after you. Because we went to go visit some other friends in Washington. But yeah, the Pacific Northwest Meetup is great. Element Driven and the Pacific Northwest Element Group have been hosting this. This is their second year doing it. I think it's going to be a slightly different setup, but it's still in the same place, which is the LeMay Auto Museum, which is a great automotive museum. Has some really cool classic cars, and we'd love to have you guys there.
Sure.
So we're gonna have the route posted as well. We're gonna get our route figured out.
Yes.
I think the first night is Shasta, but
so the first night is Shasta. Then we're gonna get to Oregon, and then basically it's gonna be the 7, and then we already have 2 campsites booked for July 7 and 8, which is going to be near the event.
Okay.
And if somebody wants to join us and they don't have a campsite yet, please contact me in Instagram so I can see if there is any spots available.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll make it work for everybody who wants to join us.
Yeah, and there are other places in the area to camp, so it might just not be at that campsite because that seems to be pretty full.
Those campsites are going to be there. I'm not sure if there is other campsites around. I will say yes. I will have to talk to the organizers. But then after the meetup, we already have campsites to book already for Olympic National Park.
Right, the 10th and the 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's going to be like an open field. So it's like $5 per person.
Okay.
And we're going to be close near hot springs. That one was picked by Mindy and from Night Element, right?
Right, Ninth Element, yeah.
So it's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be a lot of people, a lot of elements. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a good time, for sure.
I'm excited.
And lots of good food, because we always stop for good food.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're all here. Our topic today is big trips and how we prepare for them. And mainly, what do we carry with us to make sure that we can keep going on those trips? So today we're talking tools, spare parts, what we bring with us for long trips. All right?
Awesome.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Well, I guess I'll go first. My tool set is pretty basic, but it has most of everything that I need to take an element apart on the road if I need to. Main starters are basic metric combination wrench set, So running through all the numbers from 6 millimeter, which is probably pretty small, all the way up to 19 millimeter. And then a basic socket set, also metric, from 10 with maybe some extra 10 millimeter sockets, all the way up to 19. But I also bring an extra 21 and 22 for the strut bolts. And then if I feel like I'm going to need it, I'll bring the 36 millimeter axle nut socket as well. Then I bring an assortment of pliers with me. I bring the panel clip pliers, so like the, those annoying little...
To take apart the panels?
Yeah, to like, little plastic clips to take like the front bumper off.
Yeah.
Like there's a little plier with like the jaws, with like the slanted jaws on it.
Yes.
To pop those off, so I can pop those off really quickly. Big set of pear nose pliers, those come in handy.
Needle nose.
Needle nose,
Right?
for sure, yeah. No, I bring a big pear nose too. Like
Oh,
a big,
okay.
Big one. That's in emergency cases when you need something like that.
Yeah.
2 sets of gloves, because if you need help, it's always nice to have gloves for your help.
But are they latex or are they like the mechanic gloves?
No, 2 pairs of mechanic gloves and then 2 pairs of disposable gloves as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's always good to have help and be able to give those people gloves when you need them.
Correct.
A pair of safety glasses. Those are always important. Don't forget those.
I wear them all the time.
Yeah. There you go.
Can't leave home without them.
Yeah, that's right. For sure. What else do I bring? Obviously some socket extensions. I do bring an impact gun, a 12-volt impact gun, a little Milwaukee M12, with a single battery, no charger. That's mainly to help with any repairs that would be needed, but really, like, I'm not depending on it. So if the battery runs out, I have the tools necessary to keep going. An 18-inch breaker bar, a ball peen hammer, a few random drill bits, a couple punches just in case I need to like drive something out.
Wait, drill bits?
Yeah, like
Really?
some really narrow drill bits in case you need to drill something out, or a small bolt. I haven't had to use them that much, but just
Good.
Yeah,
Thankfully. Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah.
And then of course the proverbial zip ties and duct tape. Those are also in the...
Yeah, you can.
How it's handy to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need those. Those are mandatory.
Yeah.
You can forget the impact.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
don't forget the zip ties.
Yeah, for sure. So I also do have an image of my kit laid out, so you can see that here if we want to put that into the video. Miguel, what do you carry with you in terms of tools?
When it comes just to tools, because I carry a little bit extra for what I will say somebody's usually carrying in their elements.
Yeah.
Pretty much same as yours. All like hand tools, sockets from 8 millimeters to 21. I have a 22 and a 24 millimeters too. Combination wrenches, flat screwdrivers, some pliers. Maybe a little bit out of topic, not sure, but I think having like a AAA card too.
Oh,
I mean, if I get stuck somewhere, and probably the first place where I'm gonna take my element will be an AutoZone, and I can do the job there. So AAA card, a copy of it in my toolbox. That's what I mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
And just hand tools. I don't have any like impact tool when I travel. It's just because I want to minimize the space.
Yeah.
I think if I have to fix my car, the percentage to break down, especially if you're like up and go down with the maintenance, is lower. So I can kind of deal with like leaving the impact tool. I don't have to worry about bringing that extra way, or not sure, like charging it or something,
Yeah.
I can kind of deal with like using just whatever hand tools I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it comes to like hand tools, mechanical. Also, I bring a power booster to like jump my car, and I bring what other electronics? I mean, I bring a air pump, so I
sure.
can like just in case, and a tire repair kit.
Yeah.
So like if I get a hole or whatever, or somebody needs them, that's just like my tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair.
and that's it.
That sounds like a good kit.
Maybe as twice as size as your toolbox that I seen,
Yeah.
but I mean, maybe in
But he's
a
trying to
mechanic,
keep
you
it.
know?
He's trying to keep
Oh,
it
yeah,
very
let's try
minimalistic.
it.
But it's twice.
This is my
the
tool bag.
I like the size of that toolbox.
So it's pretty small. You got my breaker bar that's hanging out the end here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you know, this is a small kit, but it probably weighs like, I don't know, 30 pounds, something like that. So, you know, weight is always important to keep in mind with the elements. So, but since Miguel looked at it, I figured I'd show you guys.
Yeah, mine is like almost twice. Maybe
Yeah?
a little bit less, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a mechanic, so I kind of overthink
Yeah, I
things. So
mean,
it's like, you
that's
know?
the thing. I'm sure that I'm forgetting something, and I only. The thing is, like, I only bring the stuff that I know I'm gonna need. I'm sure I could be forgetting something. You guys do more extensive work than I do, so.
How about you, Joseph?
Yeah. Joseph.
Me? Okay, so my bag is almost identical to that size.
Oh, yeah?
And
Okay.
I'm sure it is. But to go into more detail, I carry only the sockets that I know are for the element.
Okay.
So I carry a set of, well, these are the deep sockets, right?
Yeah. Right.
There's the 8, the 10, there's a 12, there's a 14, a 17, and a 19 millimeter. And those are all just regular deep sockets that I carry with me for the 3/8 drive. I also carry 3 sets of ratchets.
Okay.
Yeah. I
3 sets.
carry an index one that you can swivel or actually
okay.
change the angle. I carry that one with me. I carry one that's a swivel head,
Okay.
just in case one fails. I have that one, and I also carry a smaller swivel head, the 1/4-inch drive.
Oh wow.
And with the 1/4-inch drive, I also carry a small little box. It's a Craftsman toolbox that I've had for years.
Okay.
My dad gifted me that one a long time ago, and I still have it. And that one just has a small assortment of just, you know, the shallow sockets, and it goes from 8 millimeters up to 14.
Okay. So like
Nice.
smaller size.
Yeah,
nuts.
smaller
Yeah.
size. It comes with a little extension. It's a nice little box of tools, and I carry that one with me just in case, because you never know. You
Yeah.
need to work
Yeah.
on something inside the car
Yeah.
or somewhere in a tight spot. I have a little box, and with the swivel head, it helps out because you can get at any angle. I do that. I do one good screwdriver, one good flat screwdriver.
Right. Yep.
Right.
And the good ones, I mean, they're not Snap-on, they're not Icon, they're not, I honestly don't even know what brand they are. Oh, one of them's Craftsman, sorry. But as long as you have one good trusty
Yeah.
flat and one good trusty Phillip,
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
I also carry an impact. I carry 2 impacts. I carry the Milwaukee M12, the 3/8 drive, and I carry the bigger one, which is the 1/2 inch. Carry that one with me.
Yeah. When you get into the big stuff.
Yeah, because I've broken axles a couple times, and my first experience that I've broken an axle, didn't have my tools with me. The second time I broke an axle, I was limited on the tools.
Yeah.
I only brought the very bare minimum and didn't take the 36 millimeter socket that you
Yeah.
usually carry.
Yeah.
I didn't take that one with me.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I don't bring it with me 100% of the time. If I know I'm going to be out there, like I will bring it with me just in case.
Yeah, I gotta carry that with me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
With, with my broken axle luck.
Yeah.
And it's always the driver's side.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
So Miguel, before we started recording, Miguel and I were talking about this, and we were like, I wonder which. I asked him like, which one? Do you know which one Joseph carries with him?
Yeah. So I'm wondering which one. Well, obviously we're gonna get into this.
90% of the times the driver axle
Yeah.
breaks.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be for a little later, I guess, the conversation. But you carry a driver's side axle with you?
No, I bought one.
Huh?
I mean, I bought one, but I don't carry it with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think with my Leaf, I'm pretty safe, especially just coming back from a 6,000 miles trip. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but for tools, I carry that. I carry a small pry bar. It's probably like a
Oh, okay. Like
a just a little foot long pry bar, 12 inches. I do. What else do I do?
Hammer.
Oh yeah, I do hammers. I have a hammer that has a soft end and has like a small metal end on it. It's just interchangeable. I carry that one with me, and a smaller rubber mallet, just the smallest one I can get.
Yeah.
So what is it, like a pound?
Yeah.
I think pound.
Just so you can wail on stuff.
And then an actual sledge, a smaller sledge. I call it Mini Thor.
Dang. You bring a sledgehammer with you too?
Yeah, dude, you just be surprised the times I've had to use it. You know,
All right.
Carry that with me. And what else? Impacts. That. Of course, zip ties. Zip ties are a must.
Yeah.
Tape is a must.
Yeah.
And the inflator too, to inflate the tires, just in case anything. Oh, tire plugs. Never know.
All right, so I think you touched on it a little bit, and you're getting onto it now. So I think we can get into recovery gear. That's kind of what I put under like tire plugs and inflators and things like that. Is there anything else you want to go over your stuff again? Is there more stuff that you bring? Maybe we can get into parts, the spare parts that you bring as well. So
well, recovery gear. Let's talk about recovery gear real quick.
Okay.
What do you bring?
Okay, recovery gear. I bring a toe strap with me.
Okay.
I bring one shackle, only because I found it for free. So that's what's in my kit. I should probably get another one. It's a hard shackle. I probably would go with soft shackles next. I have a tire plug kit. I definitely have an inflator because I use that all the time whenever we're going off road. Like we deflate and inflate. I could probably use a little bit bigger one because this one kind of struggles getting through all 4 tires without getting super hot. What else do I bring? Jump starter, like you mentioned, definitely important. Traction boards. I bring some traction boards. I have the Go Treads, so they're like the leveling block / traction board. I haven't used them to extract yet. I've let somebody borrow them, and they work pretty well. I've used them plenty to level out. I think at Joshua Tree I used them to level out. Let's see, what else do I bring? I bring a little collapsible shovel that's multi-purpose for other camp things. What else?
How about emergency lights?
I don't bring any emergency lights, now that I think about it. Not emergency specific. I bring lighting, but not like an emergency like flasher you're talking about. I don't bring anything like that or flares, so that's probably a good thing to add. For emergency cases, I do bring a fire extinguisher. Right now it's just a little like, I don't know, I think they're 2 pound, like the 2 pound like automotive fire extinguisher. I would like to get one of those Element fire extinguishers, like the.
Oh, I seen those.
Yeah.
On the meet.
They're spendy though. They're pretty expensive, but they're
really?
they're like $80 or something.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, they look like a road flares.
I went to Car. Yeah, so it looked like it's a road flare, right?
No, it's a fire extinguisher.
I went to CarTech the other day and pick up some parts, and I saw an Element thing. I was like,
an Element.
And then
the road flare thing.
My attention got
they're
taken
fire
away from me. It
extinguishers.
was like, I thought it was a road flare.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They kind of work like a road flare, so you actually light them, but it blows out a plume of smoke. That essentially sucks the oxygen out of the air, and so it extinguishes fire. So you can use it for A, B, or C type fires. So you can do grease or electric or combustibles. So they're pretty cool. They're just pretty expensive. They're also named Element, so they kind of go with the theme.
Yeah, there was a little paper right there. I just put 44.
Yeah, there you go. I think that is all the recovery gear that I can think of that I carry with me.
Do you carry a jack?
I have the original scissor jack from the Element. That's something that I've kind of like gone back and forth with because I don't want to carry a hydraulic jack. Like I don't have the space, and they're always kind of heavy. Right now I keep the scissor jack, which is definitely not the best option because it's the original one, and now that I'm lifted, it's not as useful. But I've thought about getting like a full-size truck scissor jack because those still fit in the spare tire well.
Correct.
And they also give you like more lift. They're super cheap.
And they're still lightweight.
Yeah, they don't
You
break.
can buy it at the junk car for like $10.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that I haven't gotten to, but it's something that I should carry as well. I think that's it. Yeah. Miguel, what do you carry?
I carry a bottle jack.
Okay.
Then
Hydraulic?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I carry a scissor, like emergency, from a truck. I forgot which truck. I just got it at the junk car. I just like to have the 2 options. And especially like I don't have a floor jack in my Element, so I think like just adding 2 of them kind of adds extra. I can always put like the wheel under too for extra security.
Right.
For recovering gear, I only have a cord. That's all.
Okay.
I think I will have to kind of research more. I'm kind of new into like the lifted element scene and learning from you guys. That inspires from Joseph's build and also your build. So that's something that I want to get in the future. Maybe some ramps or whatever I need to be safe when I'm off-roading.
Yeah.
I don't do like really off-roading, just some small trails. But it would be nice to be safe and don't depend of other people.
Yeah.
I think it's always like, even like you go with friends and they have gears, you want to have your own gear,
Right.
because you never know.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, everything else I already mentioned it.
Cool.
And how about you, Joseph? What do you bring?
So the complete opposite of what he just said.
You bring the kitchen
That's
sink.
what I thought.
I bring, no, so I kind of see who I'm going with, and I already kind of know what they take. So I'm like, I don't need to take this. I don't need to take that. So I'll travel light if I need to.
That makes sense.
Because if you know you're going to be traveling with somebody throughout the entire trip, kind of there's no point in having,
Sure.
so much extra gear.
Yeah.
Because, to me, it just wouldn't make any sense. That's more space. Like, even with tools, too. Like, I'll let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be taking these tools with me. So if you don't have them, it's all right. I have those. Or if you have them, if you want to just leave them,
Right.
we'll communicate like that. But for recovery gear, I only have a jack and a block of wood.
All right.
I saw
those
you
are
guys
very
pushing the
yeah.
his element last time. in the
Oh
meetup,
yeah.
Right?
So I only have
Yeah.
I only have the jack that's in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And honestly, just a block of wood. That's as much recovery gear as I have.
I mean, those are two very useful tools.
Because most of the guys that I go out off-roading with, they, like I said, they carry everything from the catalog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no point for me to have that stuff if they're always trying to show off, like, well, my snatch rope can do this.
Yeah.
Look, or whatever the freaking rope is called.
Yeah.
And just that's my recovery gear.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Jack. Yeah, because we used it last
And
time.
your knowledge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is...
Yeah.
I mean,
Knowledge is key.
I think that's
Communication to off-road.
that's a big thing though, is like knowing what you need and knowing what's going to be there. So you're still preparing because you're still checking with people, like, oh, you have this, so I don't need to bring that, like, recovered there. So it's really like knowing your gear and knowing what stuff you need. And I think that's another thing for the tools that I always try to do whenever I'm working on the element is I will use my toolkit that I carry in my element. So I know, and I will try to not go to my cabinet to get another tool, because then I know, like, the holes that are in it of, like, oh, I'm missing this thing and I need to have that, there. So, like, for example, I know that I actively don't carry a torque wrench with me in my, like, tools off-road, because if I'm doing a repair on the side of the road, like, I'm just trying to get somewhere mainly, and so I'm not super worried about perfect torque. I'm more just like, it needs to be tight enough so I can get out of what I need to get out of. And then whenever I get somewhere where I need to check it, then I can check it and I can take care of it the proper way, like the AutoZone or whenever you get a tow or something like that. Like, at that time you can then evaluate, like, oh, okay, now I need to use that torque, or I need to have perfect torque or set it up for the next 1,000 miles. But the toolkit that I have is mainly built around, this is the stuff that I know I'm going to need. So I carry, like, for example, I forgot to mention, I have the super deep 17 millimeter socket for the one
motor mounts.
for the one
For
motor
the
mount
motor mount,
stud. That's like
Oh, it's
4
handy
inches
to
long.
have.
Yeah, so I have that one in there because it's like, oh, well, if I needed to do that for whatever reason, like, I have that.
And that can be multi-use, too.
Right.
Yep,
That's what I do, too. Like, I try to just, take a ratchet with me, use it as a hammer.
Yeah.
Small hammer.
There you go. Yeah.
If you need to hammer something in, need to hammer something out, multi-purpose.
Yeah.
I think once you start learning how to use your tools, it doesn't always have just one application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's smart. I need to actually get one of those, which I still don't have. I still figure out a way to take those bolts out.
Yeah.
I have my own little system at the shop that I use, or my own little tool that I made. But
Yeah.
I should probably get a proper one to just carry with me.
Yeah, I struggled with that. I was like, I felt like I could do that bolt without getting the super deep. I was like, I can do this. I know there's some way. And after struggling it for a few hours, I was just like, I'm just going to get the stupid tool. And
What I end up doing is I end up using a deep socket, the deep socket one.
Yeah.
throw it all the way on.
Yeah.
And then
Barely
with the
put it.
extension, it barely gets enough. And
But also depends of the socket that you get. Because
Yeah,
some
also-
Right,
sockets,
some-
like the
yeah.
cheap sockets, they are super long. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
so, I mean, I've just had luck doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And to torque it, I mean, to bolt it back down, it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, you learn how to get away with certain things.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's always good to have multi-purpose because again, that cuts down on weight.
Yeah.
Like cuts down on stuff you have to bring.
Space, too, because,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a socket, but now you can replace that with maybe an additional socket that you might need.
Right.
That's maybe not as important, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's important.
I think like knowing your car, like
Yeah.
in general, not just the Element. If other people are watching from other that has other cars, knowing your car and having a plan, where are you going or what is the idea, you can kind of minimize, right, to bring
Yeah.
stuff. Or like Joseph was saying, if you're going with a group of friends and you're like 100% sure you guys gonna stick together,
Right.
maybe somebody can carry this and that.
Right.
But I think bring it either, even like you bring more or less, I think it's personal.
Right.
Like it's like mentally you want to feel like secure. And that, I would say like a lot of people are always, sometimes they don't want to like take a drive because they are scared to like, hey, my car is 300,000 miles, it's 200,000 miles.
Right.
And then they don't want to take the trip.
Right.
And I mean, first knowing your car,
Yeah.
working in your car helps a lot with that. I would say that.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
lost my mind what I was going to say, but
yeah, I mean, it's true. Like knowing your car, and I think that a lot of people in the Element community are very confident in that when they work on their car. They know that like even though they have 200,000+ miles, they're like, oh, I can take this across the country. Like mine has 230,000 miles, and I have no qualms about taking it across the country right now. And I think like you talking about like being secure. I know that you carry a few extra things more than I do,
yes,
and that's spare parts. So like me personally, I don't carry a lot of spare parts. You guys talked about axles too.
yes,
I now carry a VTEC solenoid because of your recommendation. I didn't carry that with me before, but it is something that can definitely put you out of sorts, and you want to have the OEM part if you can. You can get by with a parts store one, but now I carry that. But in terms of like axles, I don't carry axles with me or anything like
see.
that. So, but you carry more
carry
stuff.
a
So
few parts,
yeah,
yeah.
let's go into like what other
few?
parts you
if
carry.
I will have to pick like two main parts for the Elements that I will have to carry like no matter what, it will be a coil
Okay.
and a VTEC solenoid.
Okay. Those two
And
parts.
I already know a lot of people who calls me like stuck on the freeway, like, hey, my car is misfiring, or my car is in leak mode because of the VTEC solenoid. Actually, I helped somebody of the community last time that you recommend me, right? In Long Pine. Anyways, those two parts are like, I have to bring it with me.
Okay.
And then I have an starter and an alternator. Maybe I don't have to carry it, but I just did a 6,500 miles trip
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. And I know those two parts are all, so I just carry it with me. I mean, it takes kind of like the space there, but I do have the space. And I would say I carry those four parts, like most, like all the time. An alternator, and a starter, a coil, a VTEC solenoid, and then just a few like clamps, like if I need to repair a hose or, and that's it. When it comes to parts.
Okay. Maybe I have to add.
So 4 parts.
I think the electric, the coil, I might have to add.
Yeah, I think the coil and the VTECs are like
Yeah.
super important. They are small parts. The alternator, I noticed with the Elements, they don't break unless people has like a power steering leak and they like you see all the oil.
Okay.
Starters is like a gamble. I seen Elements starters goes 140,000 miles, 300,000 miles, and starts like butter. I mean, I know you're wearing a lot of Elements, so but still, I know it's a OEM starter, the one that I have, so I just carry it with me.
Yeah.
And that's the 4 main parts
So
I carry.
I have an additional question before we get to you, Joseph.
No worries.
So if you said like you carry the starter and the alternator because you know that they're kind of like worn or
Never
they're
been
old, they're
replaced in my
older,
car.
yeah.
Yeah.
So once you replace those and you know that they're new, or you have replaced them, would you still carry the spares?
I will say yes. I will still carry.
So you'd replace them with
Yes,
another
I will
new
say
set.
because the
Okay.
thing is, like, to be true, I don't use when it comes to like alternator starter. I don't use much OEM parts, even that I wanted and I
okay.
highly recommend it. I'm a mechanic, so I have like a commercial account.
Sure.
I can get better prices than
Sure,
usually people will get us. So for me, it just makes more sense. Like, oh, I can do the job. It takes me 1-2 hours to do it. Save some money. So AutoZone or O'Reilly starters, I mean, it can last you 5 years. It can last you 1 year. You never know. So I will bring it for peace of mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I never had to use my I used my VTEC when I was going to Grand Canyon.
Oh wow.
And then I like parked in the side of the road. It was very windy. You know how it gets in Arizona sometimes. And I changed the VTEC solenoid on the road, and I saved 2 element owners trip with the VTEC solenoid that I had.
Wow.
So my VTEC solenoid is being like moving around. The one that I have right now, it was sent to me by one of the persons I met. Like I drove to Long Pine to like kind of deliver the
Oh wow.
the VTEC solenoid because they didn't have it in the like in Bishop in the Honda dealer.
Yeah.
It was taking like a week or something. So, yep.
Ah.
And that's something I will carry for sure. VTEC solenoid, coil. Those are my like.
It's good
a
to know.
must.
It's good to know. Joseph, what do you carry?
So yeah, I don't carry half a car with me. Sorry, Miguel. But no, I because I've had experience with coil packs and spark plugs. I have those right now as spare parts. I should be carrying a driver axle. I know it.
Okay.
And more than likely on this trip, I'm not going to end up taking one.
Okay.
But I know I should.
Okay. So but you don't regularly carry one with you? It's
No,
just something
no,
you've
I
managed
don't
to like
Yeah.
put in your kit.
But I just replaced the axle the other day on my Element.
Okay.
For the third time.
For the somewhat, I think it's like third or fourth time. I was turning into the shop, and right when I was turning into the shop, just snapped on me.
Oh my
It was already making clicking sounds before because I
Yeah.
kind of already knew like, oh, this axle's gonna go out. So before our trip, the plan was make a little bit of time to do the maintenance, swap out the axles. It did it on its own.
Yeah.
Kind of just like broke. So yeah, I already replaced it. That's why I'm not gonna be carrying one this time.
Okay.
But I was going to. But yeah, I should be carrying an extra axle. What I do carry is extra coil packs, 4 coil packs, 4
Dang.
new spark plugs. Because you could just bundle them
Yeah.
up.
They don't take.
They
much
don't take a lot of
space.
space, yeah. So I know Miguel mentioned a good thing, VTEC solenoids, right? From my experience on these VTEC solenoids, a lot of the time it's just the sensor that malfunctions. The sensor, because you have the plug for the solenoid,
Right.
which is that smaller 2-prong,
Yep.
the little square one. Then you have the round one, which is where the sensor goes. With my green one, I don't have to worry about that because obviously it's tuned. That one's actually disabled. It at a certain RPM, it'll engage itself, right? Okay, that's how the way the computer is set. But for anybody else, and even for like my daily driven one, what I've done is because it has failed on the SC. What I do is I just swap out the sensor. I don't change out the whole solenoid.
Okay.
For me, that's a lot easier because all it is, all you have to do is just a regular thin wall 22 millimeter deep socket with a little adapter to 3/8 drive. Break it loose from the top, take it off. 90% of the time, the little gasket will stay in its spot.
Okay.
Just double check that. I'll take it off. Gasket's not on there. Cool. That means it stayed down there. You could do a visual check by taking a picture with your phone, or if you can get back there. And then just put the new sensor on. It's just a single 22 mil. Tighten it back up, plug it up. You're good to go.
Okay.
90% of the time that I've done that, it's always been, or 90% of the time that I've ran into that issue, it's just that sensor.
Okay.
If you don't feel confident enough to going back there, because I know some of us have had issues before where those 3 10-millimeter bolts in the back,
are a pain to get
they're a pain in the ass to get to. Sorry,
Yeah.
pain to get to. So if you don't want to deal with that,
Yeah.
Just 22 millimeter. That socket, thin wall. Make sure it's really thin wall. Boom, pop that off. Put the new sensor in.
And you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way you don't have to carry a whole. I mean, you can carry a whole solenoid.
Yeah.
But
It saves you time when you're working on it.
correct,
Right.
if you have
know
time.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're on the road and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like you just want a quick solution,
Yeah.
I just want to suggest that to,
Yeah, it's a
to
pretty good
everybody. That's
idea.
just
Yeah, it's a good idea.
yeah.
I mean, have you guys done testing on solenoids? Whenever you
Yeah,
have
I
a solenoid
did.
that comes off, do you like test it to see like, oh, is it the solenoid
Not all
went
the
bad?
time.
Yeah, but,
It really.
Yeah.
But usually, like, I know a lot of people has problem with the VTEC solenoids, and when you're having problems, you cannot fix it. Usually, it's the connector.
right.
Yeah, and make sure also like you're getting a OEM VTEC solenoids, and don't buy it from eBay or Amazon's.
Yeah, because
Because the chances to
don't.
get it is
Your
and that's
chances
one of
are-
my side with
Your
mechanics.
chances are better at getting a good solenoid is from an auto parts store. Napa, O'Reilly's, AutoZone.
Yeah.
And when you do that, at least you have the peace of mind of warranty.
Right.
If they offer a warranty,
Yeah.
if it fails within, a year period,
Yeah.
a 3-year period, whatever they have, then at least just swap it back out
Yeah.
at no cost.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that the OEM part from Amazon or eBay, the problem is that you can get like fake ones essentially.
Yeah,
right?
like
So they're
counterfeits.
branded, but they're
Yes.
you can tell some of the machining's a little off or something like that. So yeah, I like whenever I'm buying an OEM part, like I go through a dealership. I don't
Yes.
do it a lot, but it's always good to know your sources. Amazon is rampant with like fake OEM parts.
Yep.
So it's always
And
good
for
to
the
keep an
spare
eye.
ones, I just have like a O'Reilly or Autos
Oh,
because they are
right,
easy
okay.
to
Yeah.
like Joseph was
acquire,
saying
yeah.
to like warranty, and
Right.
you just want to like kind of like get out of the trouble that you are.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then later you can figure out.
Right. I mean, even if you're on a long trip and say you use that O'Reilly one or whatever,
Exactly.
and that one happens to have another issue, you just need to find an auto parts store and say, hey, swap it out. You swap it out again, and then you keep going. And then
Exactly.
once you're in a better place, then you can say, okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
do the
Replace
OEM
something,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good tips. Good tips.
And how about you? How about the parts that you carry?
For me, it's just the VTEC solenoid. I don't really carry any other spare parts that I can think of. Nothing big. I carry like some fuses because I've had like the 12-volt fuses, the 12-volt
Especially
outlets
for
go
like
out.
the charger, right? Sometimes you don't know. And
Yeah.
You're in a trip. It's like, oh, I cannot charge my phone.
I've had, for me, I got the 12-volt went out when I was inflating my tires with the inflator because that draws a lot of power. I was using it for something else, but that's the only time that I've had it go out, and so I carry some fuses now with me. But I don't carry any other spare parts because I figured like for the most part I'm trying to get out of a situation, and like the VTEC solenoid would be the main thing, but as long as I can get myself out of it, and I have AAA as well. AAA is always a great recommendation. If it can get me to an auto parts store, I can do the work in the parking lot or something like that to replace that part. So, yeah, I just thought of another random tool that I bring with me. So it's actually a standard combination wrench, which is I think it's an 11/16 because I run Moog end links because they don't have like the end links, the OEM end links have like the Allen key in the center of the stud,
Yes.
right? And I hate that thing.
Yeah.
Instead, the Moog doesn't make a ton of great parts nowadays, but
True.
their end links, they have a square, essentially a square stud in the
Yeah.
back,
Oh, okay.
and so, but for some reason, like it's an 11/16 square
It's that
stud.
one specific
Yeah,
size.
so I carry that wrench because I'm like, well, if I want to hold it still, then I gotta use that one. So
Yeah, so obviously there's a couple other tools I forgot to mention. I carry a small crescent wrench.
okay,
There
you go.
I also carry a slightly bigger one for, I mean, you never know. The tie rod ends.
Yeah.
You need to do I need to do an alignment real quick.
Yeah.
Because, things bend here and there sometimes.
Yeah.
So I got to,
I
on the
remember
road.
you did an alignment once when we were camping.
Yeah, I had
Yeah, he
to.
said, hey, you have a crescent?
Yeah,
He was
I
like,
forgot
on the
my
floor.
crescent
I
wrench.
You did an alignment while you were camping.
yeah.
You were just like, oh, I just gotta knock the toe out a little bit. or-
Yeah, because, some of the suspension parts,
Yeah.
if you find their weak points.
Yeah.
So you have to do an alignment on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Like, I think we all have our common repairs. It sounds like the VTEC is something
The
that's happened to
VTEC
you in
for
the
sure,
in the
yeah.
past. For me, it's the end links. So the end links, for some reason, they always come loose. Whenever we finish a trail, they're loose, and so they make a ton of noise. And so I'm usually like adjusting that.
Allen keys. You guys carry just like a set of Allen keys?
I have like a few only Allen keys.
I have that little set with multiple, metric
like
size.
the fold-out ones.
That one. I forgot to mention also I carry like the pliers that they're called dikes.
Yeah, wire cutters.
Yeah, the wire cutters. Those needle nose.
I got some electrical kit too, like bulb connectors. And you never know.
Yeah,
especially
so
like
things
I
like
have
that.
off-roading lights.
Yep.
So
Doing some electrical repairs.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I carry any electrical.
I think also I bring a little bit extra stuff because I'm always thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna be in the road for a long time. Maybe I can help somebody or.
Yeah.
He carries a toolbox with him.
Even like I think about it like, oh, I can make some money like on the road because I did that before.
Yeah.
I drove so many times cross country, maybe like 7 or 8 times. I drove all the way to the Key West 3 times and a half.
Wow.
And I remember repairing some cars on my way to Key West. So I'm like, I can bring some extra tools, stop on a AutoZone or I don't know. I just always have that mentality with me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good.
I think everybody knows their own cars, what it needs, what is being replaced. For example, my Element, I never replace the coils.
Okay.
They look OEM for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna bring a coil just in case,
Yeah, I think a lot of people should carry an extra coil pack.
Yeah.
Because once they start getting to coil packs are one of those things where a lot of people don't carry with them, and then when it does fail, they're just like,
yeah, you're kind of in a bad spot.
I mean, if you have an OBD2 scanner, so I think that's a tool we didn't mention.
Yes.
Okay.
An OBD2
I will say
scanner.
that's one of
I
the
carry one
most
with me, even
important,
though I know I don't need it, but for the next guy, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For-
I carry
you know,
that
for-
for me too.
So it's one of those things where it's like if you get a random misfire, a lot of times it can be the coil pack.
So you guys bring an actual like OBD2 like scanner like all in one.
Yeah, just the basic one. You
It's
can
like $20.
Yeah.
That's what I
you
pay
can
for
get the
mine.
super basic ones where you just plug it in, it gives you a code.
Yeah.
Google Google that, or you can get a slightly nicer one, almost $100. It'll give you a brief description of what it might be.
Okay.
So I mean, I know me and Miguel. I'm sure. I don't know. Like, do you know how to read those codes and have an understanding? Okay.
Yeah.
So like we can all three.
Diagnose. Stuff,
Be given what it might be, and we can already have an idea of like, all right, got to switch this part out.
Right. I mean,
Or a combination.
Especially the common ones that come up, like those are easy to kind of remember.
Yeah.
Like we already talked about the VTEC solenoid. It was bound to happen on this show.
Yeah.
If you never had a VTEC solenoid problem, you never own an Element. That's what I say to people.
Or it's still really new. One of the two.
Or it's still really new. Or it's like, just wait for it.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
wait until it hits
it's not
you.
if, it's when.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do carry an OBD2, but it's a Bluetooth. It's one of like the Bluetooth chips, and I have the head unit with the screen on it. It's an Android head unit, so I run Torque on it.
Oh, really?
It's a Torque Pro app, yeah. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's cool. You can like bring
High-tech
up
right here.
you can bring up gauges, and you can see like air fuel ratio, and like you can get a somewhat of an estimate of miles per gallon.
Super high tech. Look at this guy.
It'll show you codes and stuff too. But I haven't had a code come up with it yet, so I hope it works. But I haven't actually had a code come up yet. So
Now that we are talking about this, I'm just trying to think about like people who are listening to us, and we 3 of us has like mechanical experience. But if you guys will have to give like an advice for somebody who doesn't know anything about cars, but they still want this peace of mind, like I want to bring at least some tools, like maybe I don't do it, but I can do little stuff, or somebody can help me.
yeah,
I will say, like, now that you're talking about the OBD2 scanner, just learning how to plug it, and even like you don't know what it means, but just having this information, I think it can make ton of difference when you are stuck or trying to call a mechanic. It's like, hey, I have a VTEC solenoid code.
Right.
I have a misfire code.
right.
So try to do some research, maybe subscribe to my channel for like information about this. I might now do videos about like how to connect your scanner, like more simple stuff. Like for us, maybe it's simple, but for
And
other
you know
people,
what? He brings up a good point because I do get questions here and there like, "Hey, I'm running into this issue. My car is doing something weird."
Right.
Right? And it's like, okay.
What's the code?
Then I have to ask the questions like, what is it doing? At what point did it start doing it? And Is it only on startup? In the
Right.
within 20 minutes, in about an hour? I have to start asking all these questions. But if more of us would have, like he said, plug it up to a scanner.
Right.
Hey, I plugged up my vehicle to the scanner. It's reading this code. I have X amount of miles on this car, and it just started giving me issues. Whatever. Even something as simple as that.
Right.
'Cause I've had people do that with me, and it makes life so much easier.
Right.
Because then instead of asking 100 questions right away, you kind of already diagnosed half of the problem for me.
Right.
Then it gives me a better understanding of where to go or how to proceed with this procedure on on the repair. So I think he brings up a good point. I think that would be a really good video, just showing how where the OBD2 port is at, plug it in, any
Simple
basic
stuff,
scanner,
right? Like replacing a battery.
And even if
Right.
you don't know the
People call
code,
me just to replace a
yeah,
battery.
even if you don't know the code, I mean, we have computers on
Right.
accessible to us on our phone.
Exactly.
Like that's just Google it real quick.
Right.
Even with that basic information, it can teach you a lot.
That's another super good tool to have the phone, right?
Yeah,
Like information, like
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we forget about a lot. Is that like that extra information? Like the tools can get you so far, the code can get you so far, but then
Pictures too, like hey, vehicle's doing this, or even like a simple little video, things like that. The more information you can present, it makes our lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
As technicians,
I mean, I think that's definitely one of the steps. A lot of people are quick to ask, like, "Hey, my element's doing this thing." We see it on the community a lot. My element's doing this thing. Like, these are the symptoms. But usually, if it's something that severe, you have a check engine light, and the check engine light means you have a code. So the first step should always be, go to AutoZone or O'Reilly's. They'll give you a scanner for free. Like they'll let you
borrow one.
They'll let you borrow one. Sorry, they'll let you borrow one, and you can plug it up, or they will show you how to do it.
Yes.
Miguel could also do a video, and he'll show you how to do it. Plug it up and get the code, and then when you go, it's just an extra step of like, now you can say, hey, my element's doing these things. These are the symptoms. This is the code that I'm getting, and that immediately helps out because that's usually the first question is, have you pulled the code, and if you have, what is that code? Most of the time, it's a pretty well-known code at this point between you guys.
or misfire is
Exactly.
mostly what most people get.
Yeah. The other misconception that I see a lot, though, is that the element going into limp mode, and which a lot of times is VTEC solenoid, right? But it's not always, and so that can be. It can be a misdiagnosis, right?
Yeah.
So people will start throwing parts at it, saying like, "Oh, it's obvious that problem," but they didn't actually look at the code. Limp mode is just meant to protect the engine, and it's saying something is out of parameter.
Correct.
Whether it's air or oil or fuel, and it's saying something's not working right, and we're going to limit what the engine can do so it doesn't damage it anymore, so you can get to wherever you're supposed to go to fix it or to adjust it, and that code will just tell you the reason it's going into limp mode is because of air, fuel, oil, spark, any of those things, and it helps narrow down that problem. So, yeah, OBD2.
And it goes more into depth with like cam angles as well, because we have cam sensors. We also have a crankshaft position sensor. So those things will throw it into limp mode as well.
Okay.
Which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare that it happens to these K series engines.
Yeah.
It's rare, but
it
it does happen.
Right.
It does happen. So.
Right. Yeah. And I guess since we are talking to, we're going for the people that really want to get started or have no knowledge. The OBD2 part that you're talking about is a standard connector that's existed on cars since 1996. Every car that's come out since that year has this plug somewhere underneath the dash. And this plug is standard, so these tools plug into it, and they essentially allow you to interface with the computer of the car, and it will give you a standardized code for that engine or for that vehicle, and then you can look up that code on Google to tell you what's wrong with it. So I think that's good information for people to know.
Yeah, and also right now, all these tools are very affordable too.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my scanner on sale in Amazon's for $18, and it has data. It has like a description of what it is. You can read manufacturer code. So I mean, this scanner back in the days was like $100.
Yeah.
Now it's $20.
The
so
simplest one was over.
there is
100.
Yes,
no way.
yeah.
You don't have to spend tons of money when it comes to tools. What we mentioned in like in this podcast. For example, I have a Harbor Freight tool for my spare tools, and it works great.
Yep.
I have no problems with it.
Yep.
And maybe back in the days were like really not good tools, but
Right.
it's pretty decent tools right now for like getting stuff, having it
Yeah.
for safety.
Especially have that extra kit that you can carry in the car that you know you
Yes.
have all the time. Like I think we were talking about it before we started recording, but we were talking about like quality of tools and what tools
Yeah.
we carry, and I think most of us seem to agree that Harbor Freight is a good standard to start with. My rule is I buy it on Harbor Freight first, especially if it's like a specialty tool,
Yeah.
and then if I break it, I know that I'm using it enough that I need to get a better quality one, so then I'll
I
like
see.
spring for the nicer
So
one.
we're
for
not
next
sponsored
time.
by Harbor Freight, but if Harbor
Yeah,
Freight
we're
is
just
Yeah.
saying our
sponsor us,
I mean,
experience.
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
That'd
please,
be nice.
please, that'd be nice. Miguel will do tool reviews.
yeah, we'll test them out on the trail.
But no, yeah, a lot of people think, oh, you need to get Snap-on, or I guess
Yeah, like a
Matco or
$300
yeah.
scanner or
you
something.
don't need
You don't
that all the
have
time.
to.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, Harbor Freight. Some people are gonna hate me.
Yes.
A lot of people are
I'm
gonna hate
already
me.
hitting
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
we're at this point.
Harbor
we've
Freight's
already
not
done
that
it.
bad.
Yeah.
Relax. You know, it's not that bad.
Especially if you go with the
they,
icon.
yeah, they obviously have their really economy line,
Yeah,
and they also have like their medium grade,
yeah,
and then they have their more like professional, right? If you can stick within the medium grade,
yeah.
right, anybody can start working on their vehicle with the medium grade. You
Right.
go with the cheaper stuff, yeah.
Right.
You could tell the price. If you're buying a whole tool set for $30,
Yeah,
that's the cheap crap.
right.
But if you get just a socket set, a good socket set, medium grade, it's almost $20. Then just for the sockets,
Right.
that's a good price.
Yeah,
If you get the better ones, you're looking at $30, $40.
Yeah.
Those are slightly higher ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nowhere near the quality of. No, sorry, let me rephrase that. They're not going to be the quality of Matco or Snap-on, and that's okay.
yeah. I mean, those are professional grade
That's
tools.
okay.
You know,
You're
Those
not
are-
working.
At
every
least
day.
you don't have
Right,
to wait.
exactly.
At least you don't have to wait a month to replace a damn socket.
Yeah, I mean,
You can go to any Harbor Freight
exactly.
anywhere in the country and be like, "Oh, hey, I bought this. It broke on me. Here, replace it."
Yeah,
Or even you can upgrade it too.
Yeah, or you can
Well, I
upgrade
did
it.
that once. Not
Oh,
sure
really?
if it's like something they provide, but
Oh.
one time I'm like, I didn't really like this. It's like, oh, you want to get like the better quality, like an
Yeah.
icon or something like that. So yeah, I'll take it, and they kind of return the money
Okay.
and they use the
Use the-
credit towards the upgrade too.
Oh, that's a good
So I
idea.
thought it was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, we are not sponsored by,
We're not sponsored
Yeah.
by
by
them.
Harbor Freight, just in case.
I mean, you know, we're talking like home mechanic or
Yeah.
people on the roads that are traveling, want to have security
Yes.
to fix their car. Like Harbor Freight is more than enough.
And they have
obviously-
the stores everywhere too.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, like, you know, your Snap-on, your Matcos, like, those are meant for professional grade tools. Those are for people that are working day in, day out on vehicles. So, you know,
And we
you
are not
said-
professionals by any.
yeah,
by any
you
means.
you too have a little bit of Snap-on and Matco where you know
Yeah.
you need it, right? Because
Yeah.
you need that quality of
There
the
is
tools to
there
get
is
that
certain
job done.
tools that yes
have
you
to.
need to have.
Right.
Like they just need you need to have them so they don't fail on you.
Right.
They will fail eventually.
Right.
But that's X amount of jobs in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And at that
Whereas
point,
at
you know,
that point,
you've made your money on
you made
that.
your
It
money
has
on it.
helped your
Yeah.
business. So, yeah.
So
The other thing that I like at a certain point, at one time, tools were coming from a lot of different places. There were a lot of U.S. made tools. Everything now is made in China. Unfortunately, like that's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Craftsman is now made in China. They do have a pro line. I don't know where they're made exactly. And Harbor Freight has always been made in China, and everybody knew that. And that's okay because their quality has come up a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're dealing with quality standards for Milwaukee and DeWalt now, and so you know they're able to put out a high quality product, and Harbor Freight has been able to capitalize on that. So now they have their tools that are plenty good for the home mechanic,
Yeah.
especially for a kit that you keep in your car for emergencies. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I will have to price my tools that I have in my element right now, like just give a price, I will say I spent with the OBD2 scanner and the hand tools only, no the jumpers, because those ones are like
sure,
so many different options. But at least for me to like fix something on the road for what is the most common problems in elements, alternators, starters, coils, VTEX, solenoids.
Mm-hmm.
I will say $120, $130 around there.
Including the scanner?
Yeah, the scanner I pay $18, and it has data and all
Yes.
that. I mean, this is like a super basic tools that I know it will get me out of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not working with these tools every day. It's just my spare tool that is always in my car. I will give that range around, I would say now like 120 to 150. And paying that, you know, and having all this in my element, it's just make me safe, feel safe when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
So how about you guys on
Well,
about like your tools?
minus the impact guns, minus that, just like my basic tools that I take, I kind of want to say about 250, 250 bucks. It might be less than that. I'm just exaggerating the number.
Yes.
That way, you know,
People don't get
people,
surprised.
yeah, people don't get surprised in case it comes up to more. But minus the impacts, about 250. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm about where you put it, probably like a little over $100, not including the impact gun. But it's not too expensive to get a basic toolkit going.
Yes.
Not expensive.
Just
at all.
wanted to mention this because hopefully it can help other people. And if there is any comments, any other topic about this or a video that I can make, or also with Joseph, we've been working together once in a while, leave it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a good talk in terms of you know what we carry to get ready for trips. Maybe next time we'll talk more about trip planning.
Yeah.
But for now, I think this is a good place to leave off. As always, like if you guys liked what you saw, or if you have suggestions on what we can talk about, things that we missed, things that we can talk about, please leave them in the comments below. We'd love to get them on the show. And be able to address whatever questions you guys have. So this has been Outdoor Elements with Joseph and Miguel and myself. I am Steven Camardella of Element Society.
Miguel from Element Lifestyle.
And Joseph from Element 44.
All right. Thanks for coming to Outdoor Elements.